always been cocky. Always. The conversations me, him, Wendy used to have on set, it's the same.
Steve Harvey has just been hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
So, Steve Harvey's production company is being sued for harassment of a former guest.
Steve has always been the same. He hasn't changed.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal.
Remember that 90s gem, The Steve Harvey Show? If you do, then you've got to recall Terri Vaughn. She's the talented actress who brought the unforgettable character of Levita Alizé Jenkins to life.
Excuse me? You can't just go barging up in there. This is the principal's office.
In a recent interview with Comedy Hype, actress Terri Vaughn spilled some piping hot tea about Steve Harvey, suggesting that his cocky attitude has been a constant throughout his career. Vaughn reminisced about her time on The Steve Harvey Show, sharing that the conversations on set were often punctuated by Steve's unwavering cockiness. She revealed,
Steve's always been cocky. Always. The conversations me, him, Wendy used to have on set, it's the same.
Steve Harvey's career has seen highs and lows, with moments of immense success and relevance. But Vaughn noted that his recent endeavors might not be resonating with audiences in the same way they once did.
I think he's still that same smart Steve. He's still that. But now you're also seeing another side of him that he never had to show.
Anyway, the talk show host Steve has long been rumored to possess a streak of meanness. In a 2022 episode of the Smartless podcast, Kenan Thompson found himself sharing an interesting anecdote about his interactions with Steve Harvey, hinting at yet another instance where Steve may not have been the most affable individual. During the podcast conversation with hosts Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett, the topic turned to Kenan's impersonation of Steve on the comedy scene. When Will Arnett mentioned that Steve was one of his favorite characters portrayed by Kenan, the Nickelodeon alumnus didn't hold back about the initial response from the judge, Steve Harvey star. Steve Harvey didn't love it in the beginning, Kenan said on the podcast. I know him, so he would definitely send messages through mutual friends or just through the press. Like, tell the little fat boy to knock it off. Despite Steve's less than enthusiastic reception of the impersonation, Kenan didn't back down. In fact, he decided to expand on it, adapting it to suit whatever Steve Harvey was up to next, such as when he ventured into projects like Little Big Shots. I never stopped, he continued. As soon as he does something, whenever he steps away from Family Feud and does something else, I'm on that too. If you're on the radar, you're on the radar. Interestingly, Kenan had previously discussed Steve's reaction to his impersonation in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. Steve wasn't overly excited about it in the beginning, but he grew to love it. I don't do it out of any malice, he told the outlet in July 2020. He told me in different ways, or he'd say it on his radio show, and then people would call me and be like, hey, Steve Harvey's talking about you this morning on the radio. And I'd be like, all right, well, I'm sure he'll settle down once he realizes that I'm not attacking him. As fans may know, Kenan first crossed paths with Steve when he appeared on Steve's sitcom, The Steve Harvey Show, where he played a character named Junior from 1996 to 1998. In 2017, Kenan was a guest on Steve's self-titled talk show, and they hashed it out with friendly banter. You don't know the phone calls you put in my life, Steve told Kenan. Man, Steve, did you see Kenan last night? I didn't see Kenan last night. Boy, he did your last night. Over the years, the duo has shared other tidbits about their playful interactions. I just saw Steve when we were shooting Bring the Funny, and he was on the next stage doing Family Feud, Kenan said per Essence. I sat down with him and he was like, you better watch yourself. I love Steve. I've known him for a super long time. The feeling sounds mutual. We all know Kenan's career is alive and well because of me, Steve jokingly said on Extra. I want to kick his but it's pretty funny. I call Kenan all the time and say, hey man, send me half your check because I'm half the reason you're here. However, if you think that's the extent of Steve's disturbing behavior, you are in for a rude shock. Unhesitant to delve into controversial subjects that may discomfort some, Cat Williams has openly addressed issues that have seemingly incurred the displeasure of certain factions within the industry. Multiple incidents indicate that Hollywood might be actively seeking to distance itself from Cat, possibly in response to his unwavering and unyielding stance on these matters.
Why? Because ain't nobody gonna sleep with him. You only got Tiffany Haddish. She been doing comedy since she was 16.
You often hear that truly understanding the inner workings of an industry requires first-hand experience. Comedian Cat Williams recently provided some intriguing insights that shed light on this notion. Williams hinted at significant revelations concerning many black artists' careers.
Those are just facts, sir.
How many is that total?
9.
So you've done 9 filmed comedy stand-up specials
without ever getting financed or having a deal.
Cat's disclosure about his former idol might be surprising to some, but the subsequent revelation is even more shocking. He asserted that Steve Harvey, a favorite among many, has purportedly made a deal involving his soul with Hollywood.
I think Steve Harvey's some stand-up man. No, he kissed his old girl who owned TV One. He used to kiss her. That's how he had the radio.
Undoubtedly, Cat Williams is widely recognized as one of the funniest comics of his generation, celebrated for his unfiltered humor and dynamic performances in hit stand-up specials. Despite his talent and status among Hollywood's comedy elites, Williams hasn't attained the same level of mainstream exposure as some of his peers. A supporter noted, unlike Kevin Hart, he hasn't embraced leading roles in blockbuster movies, and he doesn't host a show like Steve Harvey. Being hopeless, he once even said, "I'm just going to go ahead and announce my retirement from stand-up. I'm kind of done. I've already discussed it with my kids. I wasn't really going to do it on a Seattle street. I was going to Los Angeles and do it in the offices of ICM or Live Nation." For a while, there were rumors suggesting that Williams had been blacklisted from the industry, prompting inquiries into why he hadn't reached the same level of success as figures such as Steve Harvey. It's noteworthy that Williams and Harvey have had a strained relationship for over a decade, and there appears to be a substantial reason behind their ongoing discord.
Well, to be honest with you, Frankie, I didn't know nothing about this concept. When the promoter told me about it in October, I shot it down, because that ain't how I've ever promoted a show.
To trace the origins of their feud, we must revisit December 2008, when Cat Williams publicly criticized Steve Harvey before a Christmas season show. This incident marked the initiation of their conflict, which has endured for over a decade. It's worth noting that both Cat Williams and Steve Harvey have been involved in disagreements with other comedians, and this particular instance was no exception. Even one internet user wrote, "I think real comedians are born with the talent to make people laugh and to be funny. It's not something that someone can teach you that can give you pointers. Kay can just be present and make you laugh without saying a word. Now that's a comedian." Another one added, "I love Cat and I don't doubt his word one bit." However, Steve has never claimed to be a saint and has spoke on his past multiple times. Who he was in his past is not who he is today. Fact, he was an @SS hat. Fact, he learned the hard way and consciously took the necessary actions to better himself, just the same as many do, and many more really should. The genesis of their feud can be traced back to a public challenge by Cat Williams. He boldly asserted that he could surpass Steve Harvey and claim the title of the King of Comedy during an upcoming New Year's Eve show where both comedians were headlining.
Now, I was on the Steve Harvey show, and Steve Harvey, who is going to call in at 5:45 and get the record straight.
Reportedly, Jamie Foxx was also involved in this conflict. Fox, who was working as a radio host at the time, played a clip of Cat Williams dissing Steve Harvey, which likely escalated the feud between the two comedians. "I want to apologize for what's going to happen," Williams said of the joint comedy gig. "But the second that you get on stage, I need you to understand that that's your final time as the King of Comedy. Water seeks its own level. You can't stop it, Playboy. It is what it is, so I hope you're ready. I hope you got a team of writers. You're going to need about 6 or 7 of them." In response to the clip, Steve Harvey called into the radio show and expressed his bewilderment regarding the entire situation.
I've always been on tour with some real monsters, man. I toured with the Kings. I've been on stage with Sid, DL, and Bernie Mac at the same time.
However, on the big night, when the event arrived, Cat Williams came out swinging, delivering punches aimed at Steve Harvey's comedy reputation, as well as poking fun at his clothes and hair. Addressing the crowd, Cat Williams likely had some sharp and humorous remarks to make about Harvey during his performance. He said, "Please give it up for Steve Harvey. He's one of the best we've ever had," Williams told the crowd. "But he don't want no parts of this in no shape or form. I don't know why he came out here with all this money y'all spent on these expletive tickets and talked about a lady in the audience for 15 minutes, but won't talk about me the way I getting ready to talk about his expletive-made expletive." You see, Cat Williams didn't have fame and fortune handed to him on a silver platter. He had to build his comedic empire from the ground up, starting in Avondale, Cincinnati. He honed his craft by performing stand-up comedy in various venues across the country, from the lively streets of Oklahoma to the vibrant stages of Oakland. Fearlessly, Cat delivered his routines, perfecting his unique style along the way through hard work and dedication.
And act like it happened. You in the middle of a goddamn meeting. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the movie with you, and then we're going to go back.
Turning our attention to Steve Harvey, he is widely acknowledged as a devoted family man who places a high value on his loved ones. Nevertheless, Cat Williams reportedly asserts that Harvey is nothing more than a charlatan, masking his authentic self behind a meticulously crafted facade for an extended period. According to Cat, opinions about Steve's comedic prowess vary significantly depending on the source, further complicating their relationship dynamics and the public perception of Harvey's image.
You have been the king of comedy as long as we've had one. Matter of fact, the whole phrase, king of comedy, can be attributed that you know.
Certainly, Cat Williams has built a reputation not only for his comedic talents, but also as a notable whistleblower in Hollywood. He has been outspoken about various issues and controversies within the entertainment industry, bringing attention to matters that are often left unspoken or overlooked.
A doing drugs in the ATL, the at least excuse himself, go to the bathroom or some shit.
According to Cat Williams, Steve Harvey's reputation may not be as positive as it appears to some. Depending on who you speak to, Harvey is either celebrated as one of the funniest individuals on the planet or viewed as a celebrity with a less than stellar reputation. Williams has claimed that Harvey has some skeletons in his closet, including rumors of mistreatment towards his staff. Persistent rumors have circulated regarding the renowned comedian and talk show host not treating his staff well. Moreover, after his talk show relocated to Los Angeles, Harvey allegedly sent a controversial memo to his new staff, making demands typically associated with tour writers. These allegations have contributed to the existing tension between the two comedians.
And I could not find a way to walk from the stage to my dressing room, to sit in my makeup chair, to walk from my dressing room to the stage.
In the leaked memo, Steve further wrote, "My security team will stop everyone from standing at my door who have the intent to see or speak to me. I want all the ambushing to stop now. That includes TV staff. You must schedule an appointment. I have been taken advantage of by my lenient policy in the past. This ends now. No more. Do not approach me while I'm in the makeup chair unless I ask to speak with you directly. Either knock or use the doorbell." Steve Harvey defended himself by asserting that the controversial memo was an attempt to secure more free time during his day. He explained that the memo was sent to address what he perceived as a too lenient open-door policy that had been in place during his show's run in Chicago. Harvey reiterated this defense a few days later while discussing the leaked letter with Entertainment Tonight. "Look, man, I'm in my makeup chair, they walk in the room. I'm having lunch, they walk in, they don't knock," he continued. "I'm in the hallway, I'm getting ambushed by people with friends that come to the show and having me sign this and do this. I just said, wait a minute. And in hindsight, I probably should have handled it a little bit differently." Cat Williams appears to have legitimate reasons for his grievances against Steve Harvey. In November 2015, the Think Like a Man author faced a lawsuit for allegedly reneging on plans to lease a private jet. This occurred after over $400,000 worth of renovations had been initiated, reportedly at Harvey's request. The requested enhancements included custom carpet, a reconfiguration of the interior cabin from 16 seats to 14 seats, custom seat design, and new upper and lower cabin sidewalls, according to TMZ reports.
According to a private jet company, he did not pay the bill.
This is a fabulous story.
After they customized the hell out of the thing.
Williams has also alleged that Harvey, who starred as a high school music teacher on 1996's The Steve Harvey Show, lifted the premise of his show from comedian Mark Curry. Curry starred as teacher Mark Cooper on the sitcom Hangin' with Mr. Cooper, which debuted in 1992. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had, Williams said. Now Steve got a sitcom where he's the principal and he wears a suit. Williams also dissed Harvey's acting chops, skewering Harvey's claim that he didn't want to pursue a film career. "You couldn't be a movie star," Williams said. "There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You have to have range." The actor-comedian took a critical stance on fellow comics Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, and Ricky Smiley during an appearance on the Club Shay Shay podcast released on Wednesday. Williams, speaking with host Shannon Sharpe, aimed to address what he considered as untruths spread about him by lowbrow comedians on Sharpe's show, characterizing Cedric, Harvey, and Smiley as a gang. He asserted, "For 30 years, they're a group. These aren't three random guys. All of these dudes are co-entwined, and they share secrets, and this is the age of truth." Williams accused Cedric the Entertainer of pilfering a joke from his comedy set in the late 90s, a joke he also performed on the BET program Comic View. Describing the situation, Williams stated, "This is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke. And it's my closing joke. 1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View." Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the original Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. Initially, Williams had given Cedric a pass for using the joke, but his stance changed when Cedric denied taking from Williams' material. Williams remarked, "He thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke and nobody would know." Cedric the Entertainer responded to Williams in the comments section of an Instagram post featuring a clip from the Club Shay Shay podcast, dismissing Williams' allegation as revisionist history. "Regardless of whatever Kat's opinion, my career can't be reduced to one joke Cat Williams claims as his," Cedric wrote Wednesday. "I've been in over 40 movies, my specials and brand speak volumes for I Am, the people I have put on including Cat in the Hat, at the Gibson Amphitheater." Steve also had some issues with Monique and Mark Curry. Monique's conflict with Steve is undeniable, and she's being very direct about it. Rumors suggest she's gearing up to expose all of his secrets. With her deep industry experience, it's plausible she could possess inside information worth revealing. Steve Harvey has gained recognition as one of television's most prolific comedians in recent years. Whether it's his delightful interactions with talented kids on Little Big Shots, or his incredulous reactions to contestants' unexpected answers on Family Feud, Harvey has consistently brought laughter to audiences across America. However, not everyone is amused, particularly comedian and former Hangin' with Mr. Cooper star Mark Curry, who claims that Harvey appropriated some of his material for various television projects.
Steve Harvey, the job after me. I picked him.
Okay, so tell me about
never said thank you.
So what's up with you and Steve, man?
I ain't nothing with me. Well, Steve stole my material.
This contentious relationship has spanned several years, with Mark attributing their issues to Steve allegedly pilfering his jokes during his appearance on the Mike and Donnie show on Fox Souls in December 2019.
Somebody called me and said, "Man, homeboy doing your material." So he did my whole Halloween run. And so my thing is, you don't have to do that, homeboy.
Right.
So, you made enough money.
During that appearance, Curry specifically alleged that Harvey had performed a significant portion of Curry's Halloween routine on his Steve Harvey talk show. Beyond the alleged joke theft, what was particularly distressing for Curry was witnessing someone with a highly successful career using comedic material that could have benefited Curry himself.
When he was on the bull talk show he had, and he did all my Halloween material one Halloween. I'm watching.
In another candid moment caught on camera, Curry shared his perspective on Steve Harvey when approached by a videographer. He asserted his belief that Steve Harvey had allegedly taken not just once, but twice from his stand-up material and incorporated it into his former daytime talk show, Steve Harvey and Little Big Shots. He said, "He used my material on both his platforms after I saw him. I talked to him at Def Comedy Jam 25 in 2017, and I said, 'Man, you're using my material. You're taking money out of my pocket. You made enough money. You're very wealthy. You don't have to take it from me.'" Just a few days after Mark made his allegations about Steve Harvey appropriating his material, the host of Family Feud chose to address the issue. In a new interview with TMZ, Steve Harvey vehemently denied the accusations, stating that he did not take any of Mark's jokes. "I'm getting sick of this right here. Mark Curry needs to grow up," Steve began. Steve Harvey ain't been on a stage since 2015. Ask Mark Curry what joke he's talking about. When the interviewer revealed that Mark had said Steve used his joke on Little Big Shots, Steve replied, "Are you kidding me? Get a life, get a career," Steve later said. "I've never stolen a joke in 35 years." Steve Harvey has skyrocketed to fame with his stand-up comedy and daytime talk shows, but not everyone is singing his praises. Surprisingly, Samuel L. Jackson isn't exactly hopping on the Steve Harvey fan train. In an industry where camaraderie among Black celebrities is often celebrated, the dynamic between Harvey and Jackson is more akin to oil and water. While there's plenty of examples of strong bonds between stars like Samuel and the late Bernie Mac or Steve and Martin Lawrence, the relationship between Harvey and Jackson is a whole different story. It's as if they just don't quite click, with a noticeable wariness lingering between them.
Or take the praise for what it is, or understand that, okay, if I do this, it's gonna be more trouble than it's worth.
That's right.
You know, so a moment of instant gratification.
The entertainment industry has been weathering a storm of bad news lately, with some major celebrities finding themselves at the center of controversy. From simply bad to downright inhumane, the headlines have been relentless. And one star who seems to frequently find themselves in the less than flattering category is rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Already tangled up in a web of dark headlines, he's back in the spotlight once again, this time embroiled in yet another messy situation involving one of his exes.
Because I'm so quiet, there's been so many stories that have been made up about me. Like I've seen stories about me being like fully in love with somebody and we have like this whole relationship.
The interwoven connections between celebrities can sometimes lead to eyebrow-raising situations, and the involvement of Lori Harvey, daughter of another controversial figure, adds another layer to the intrigue. Rumors suggest that her previous ties with Diddy might not have been entirely conventional, especially considering the proximity to her former flame, Diddy's son. It's a scenario that many would find undeniably peculiar. Speculation now swirls that Lori's relationship with Diddy could have been a means for him to settle some undisclosed debts, not necessarily those of her father's, but possibly her own. While Lori's stunning looks and connections to successful individuals might suggest she had her pick of partners, her involvement with Diddy might have stemmed more from business than genuine affection. This revelation about Diddy and Lori's relationship adds a new dimension to the tangled web of celebrity interactions. And speaking of revelations, Cat Williams has recently dropped a bombshell about another beloved figure, Steve Harvey. According to Williams, Harvey allegedly made a pact involving his soul with Hollywood, a claim that has undoubtedly left many fans stunned and curious about the depths of the entertainment industry's secrets.
I think Steve Harvey some stand-up man. No, he kissed this old girl who owned TV One. He used to kiss her. That's how he had the radio.
So it seems Steve's ascent to stardom might have played a role in potentially impacting Lori's future. Recently, Suge Knight, a heavyweight in the industry who witnessed Diddy's rise to fame, dropped some bombshells. He insinuated that Diddy has a team to cover up his messes whenever he slips up, and guess who he implicated? You guessed it, Lori's father, Steve Harvey. This former Death Row Records mogul didn't just casually mention Steve Harvey's name as a potential fixer for Diddy, he also hinted at a paper trail connecting Diddy's PR cleanups back to Steve. Now, why would a successful celebrity like Steve stoop to the level of cleaning up someone else's messes, especially when that person, who's roughly the same age as Steve, is dating his daughter? That's the million-dollar question.
What's up, boy? My man. Appreciate you, man.
It appears that according to some self-appointed sleuths on social media, Steve might be deeply entangled with Diddy, and not in a positive light. Here's the scoop. Harvey is undeniably a powerhouse in the industry, and one would assume that would exempt him from having to answer to other entertainers. However, it seems Diddy might be the exception to that rule. Recent reports suggest that Steve might be following orders from the notorious CEO, to the extent that even his own family members aren't immune. Yes, you read that correctly. These allegations don't just revolve around Steve, they also involve his daughter. Over time, there have been murmurs suggesting that Steve Harvey could have been doing Diddy's bidding.
I'm not doing anything that's going to compromise my peace and happiness.
It seems those rumors were more than just hearsay. Recently, amidst the ongoing Tupac saga, Suge Knight, Diddy's longtime adversary, unleashed some bombshells, including revelations about Steve Harvey. Knight questioned the authenticity of the love that the celebrity host professed for the legendary rapper, sparking considerable controversy. Knight portrayed Harvey not merely as a casual associate of Diddy's, but as someone who turned it into a lucrative sideline. He also implied that Harvey was shielding an individual widely suspected to be involved in the demise of the All Eyes on Me artist, intensifying the drama even further.
If you love Pac so much, how you with the mother everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one. Since you want to bring up the sorcerer.
In further unraveling the complex narrative, Knight unveiled Harvey's apparent disregard for Tupac's legacy by downplaying the significance of the infamous East Coast-West Coast feud. This feud not only profoundly impacted Tupac's life, but also claimed the lives of several others, including Biggie Smalls. Yet, Steve appears to have persuaded the public that Diddy bore no responsibility for the violence and turmoil that ensued during that tumultuous period. It appears that cleaning up messes was just the tip of the iceberg for Steve's role with the business mogul. There are suggestions that he might have been tasked with much more, such as allegedly offering up his own daughter to Diddy. What's even more startling is that Lori's relationship with Diddy might not have been for the reasons the public initially believed. The model and entrepreneur recently addressed these rumors in an interview with E! News, disclosing that she often hears claims about being in a relationship with someone whom she hasn't even met in person.
Like, I've seen stories about me being like fully in love with somebody and we have like this whole relationship, and I'll see the guy and I'm like, I've actually never even met him before.
Moreover, Steve's recent post raised questions about his relationship with Bernie Mac. Over the past decade since his passing in 2008, Bernie Mac fans have been uncovering surprising details about his professional relationship with fellow comedian Steve Harvey. Despite the perception that the two original kings of comedy were close friends, many have been shocked to learn allegations that the host of Family Feud reportedly appropriated Mac's jokes and even tried to have him ousted from a movie role. The allegations of joke theft resurfaced following Cat Williams' candid interview on Club Shay Shay in January. This resurgence occurred months after Harvey faced criticism over rumors of his wife, Marjorie, supposedly being unfaithful and seeking a divorce. Harvey appears to be focused on moving forward and leaving the past behind, as indicated by his most recent post. "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending," he shared on X. While this post garnered praise from many social media users, there's one individual who appears unable to let go of the past. "That's what you did with the Mac and y'all forgot about that," the user wrote. But Harvey's post did receive some praise from others who said, "I know that's right, and you're the author of your own story. Write a new chapter and rise above the past negativity." The purported beef between Harvey and the Chicago native has been a topic of discussion among many entertainers and fellow comedians who admired both of their comedic talents. Allegedly, the two did not see eye to eye during the tour for the original Kings of Comedy film alongside Cedric the Entertainer and D.L. Hewley in 2000. More than a decade later, reports emerged that the star of the Steve Harvey shows was competing for Mac's role in Ocean's 11. Harvey was supposedly willing to accept less pay than Mac to portray the role of the blackjack-dealing con man Frank Catton. "In this Hollywood game that we're in, it's a cold game," Bernie reportedly expressed in a 2003 interview with Ebony magazine. "And the sad thing about it is all of us are doing well, so I don't really see the problem." So all these revelations may create a difficult situation for Harvey. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.